that probably the most common thing that I hear from people about relationships, particularly relationships where they feel deceived or put off, or something starts going very wrong, is the idea, and I want to attach this or associate this idea to with the common term that people use when they refer to as a soulmate. And the reason I do is because the desire for a soulmate is kind of like a basic human thing, right? Whether it's an imagination, a fantasy, a reality, whether we do in fact hook up with and find the person that we feel so connected with that we call them our soulmate. And we have all different kinds of ideas around what soulmate means, right? Some people think that a soulmate's like this ideal, perfect, blissful relationship, and that's actually hardly ever the case. I mean, our soulmates are usually the people that we have the greatest possibility of growing with in a relationship, which means that that relationship can be one of the most antagonistic and provoking relationships, because that's what causes us to grow, right? That's when we're challenged, we have to step outside of our comfort zone. And whenever we step outside of our comfort zone, we're having new experiences, we're trying on new things, we're being new ways, and chances are we're going to learn a lot, right? But the most common thing that I hear about relationships is, and it always has a theme, is that as soon as I committed to them, or as soon as we got married, they changed, right? It's like the next day, a different human being showed up. I mean, that's how it feels, right? And they're sitting there going, oh my God, what is this, right? But there's this total feeling, all kinds of feelings, but there's this total feeling of being betrayed, deceived, lied to, let down, disappointed, and it kind of like breaks the trust, as well as clearly undermines the love, the affection, the attraction, because some of these changes can be quite drastic, right? They can almost be personality changes, right, where the person becomes entirely different, and that's like a shocking experience, as well as being just extremely disappointing, and to the point of it can devastate a relationship. But what typically happens in relationships, right? Because I want to say most people, I know some people won't like that term, okay, but it is true. Most people in life have this kind of like underlying, pervading fear or feeling that if we show up the way we really are and we just be ourselves in situations, people aren't going to like us, right? Or if we meet the one, we meet somebody that we're attracted to, especially like in a romantic, sexual, intimate type relationship, as opposed to like a friend, for example, that like the stakes are higher, right? There's a greater risk involved in this one, so I have to like really play the game in order to lure this person in and to make sure that they're attracted to me. Because if they saw me the way I really was, forget it, right? But so what we have a tendency to do is we're not only putting on a false front, putting on putting our best foot forward, all that type idea, but we are literally attracting a person who's attracted to our false front. They're not attracted to us at all. And as soon as that false front falls down and we show up, guess what? They magically fall out of love, right? It's like they're sitting there going, who are you and what the hell did you do with, so-and-so? But we don't really get this because we're so nervous about the fact that if they just see us the way we really are, and if we just divulge ourselves, it's going to repulse them. You know what I mean? They're not going to find us attractive. They're not going to like us, fall in love with us, want anything to do with us, and so on. So we get in the relationship. So we're attracting the people. An inappropriate person, I guess, is what I'm really trying to get at, because we're attracting them with the wrong thing. But we get into a relationship with somebody who is inappropriate for us to begin with, and then we start, and we've got this whole false front going, and then we start slowly giving them little bits, right? We start slowly exposing ourselves and revealing who we really are in small chunks as the relationship progresses, and it becomes more secure, so to speak, or it becomes more of a sure bet, and we start kind of relaxing into it a little bit, and then we start feeling comfortable with showing the person who we really are. But even that is only so much of ourselves do we put out there, and we save the real stuff, right? The scary stuff, the high risk elements or qualities, right? Those, no. Those don't come out until the marriage contract is signed, and as soon as the marriage contract is signed, or we move in together, right? Now I'm safe, right? So now I've got you, you're mine, it's a done deal. So then all the facades drop and the real person shows up, and it can be shocking sometimes. I've just heard amazing stories about how much people change as soon as they get married. But and it creates like a stigma that becomes kind of a belief in the person, that, and they develop a fear towards committing, right? Because that little mind goes, as soon as I commit, he's going to change, right? Or she's going to change. So there's like always this holding back in future relationships, and developing this like anxiety, is kind of like fear around making a commitment to the person, because you're afraid that they're going to completely change as soon as you do. But the other thing that people don't seem to notice about that equation is that if you're really looking for a soulmate, okay, now a soulmate is is what we could call somebody who is actually of the same nature as us, right? It's like the idea that somewhere along the way, one little soul was divided and split. It's kind of like the Adam and Eve story, right? It became two separate souls, but they're of the same nature. They're opposite, complementary, and not only do they attract to each other, but they're just in sync, right? This is a person that we're totally comfortable with, we're totally stimulated by, they know us, we know them, there's an intimacy immediately in the relationship. It's one of those ideas that the minute your eyes make contact, you know, right? It's like, whoa, you know what I mean? It's like both people get it, both people know exactly what's going on, and when the relationship starts progressing, it's like an understanding. There's never a doubt or wondering if the person loves you, wondering if they, no. It's like understood, right? To the point where it's never questioned. So, and these relationships are type relationships that you can go through anything together, and it actually serves to strengthen the relationship rather than ripping it apart or undermining it and weakening it in some way, because that's what happens when there's true intimacy, true bonding and connection in a relationship. It's you go through everything as if you're the same person, as if you don't look at it as you did this. It's like us. We are experiencing this. How are we going to handle this? How are we going to deal with this? And you just feel that that level of connection with your partner, your spouse, your mate. But here's the kicker, okay, is that we can look at it that way and say, okay, yeah, that sounds, something pretty much like what a soulmate is. Now, a soulmate, if that's truly what a soulmate is going to be attracted to us exactly as we are. They're not going to be attracted to the false front. And even if there's a subconscious energetic attraction going on, they're still, in the beginning certainly, are not going to, when they see that false front, they're not going to relate to it. They're not going to feel comfortable with it. It's not going to have that familiarity that's so common with soulmates. So the best way to attract your soulmate is by being completely natural, by being yourself right from the get-go, and not hiding stuff, covering up, unpleasant stuff pleasant, you know, or beautifying things that are not that beautiful. It's just relax, be as natural as possible, be yourself, and know that that's what's going to attract them. And when they see that in you, they're going to relate to it. There's a part of them that's going to go, oh wow, he's just like me, right? Or she's just like me, or yeah, you know, this could be my place, or this could be, I mean, there's a total connection as far as, you know, you get everything. You don't have to, you know, they don't have to explain anything. They don't have to apologize for anything. They don't have to, it's like when they reveal themselves to you, it increases the intimacy rather than destroying it. So, but certainly make it a point when you go into relationships to be authentic and trustworthy, and just let down the guards and be yourself. And if it's meant to be, that's going to make it even more powerful. And if it's not meant to be, then it's not going to happen, and that's cool, right? Because you don't want something that's not meant to be, or something that's only short term, or that, you know, as soon as you get into a situation where you're committing to the person, things take a drastic turn for the worse and start falling apart. So, but that's probably what I would say is the most common complaint or problem that I hear in terms of